If you're listening to this podcast, then I'm already dead. Hello and welcome to... Is it a weird start?
It was fine.
Hello,
I don't understand
to...
the context. It's a
I don't
fine
know.
start.
They're so hard to start. We'll stick with that one. It's so late.
Okay,
Let's just
keep
fucking
going,
stick
keep
with
going.
that one.
Yeah, so we have no time at all. We're going to be like going up way past... I got to work.
It's past my bedtime, man.
I got to work at 5 a.m. tomorrow, lifting like real heavy shit, and I'm not going to get maybe even 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Welcome to
So you're welcome,
Yeah.
fans.
This is the sleepy episode.
This is the sleep... No, wait, they have that.
The Sleepy Cabin. Yeah, they already did that one. I like that show, by the way.
It was pretty good.
I listened to like twice. It's very good.
Anyway, I'm Michael.
I'm Dalton, and welcome to the Will It Send Me to Hell podcast. We're glad to have you. This is the podcast where we look at media, movies, whatever, and we discuss the Catholic real-life morality of them. Imagine
if you took like your standard Catholic parents' guide, mixed that with like 1920s Catholic, like, we're going to boycott this movie because it's satanic.
Yeah.
And then add a little bit of like anti-Semitism or like Zoomerism.
Yeah. Plus like a Twitter profile that's a groiper with pit viper sunglasses.
Or like an anime with a MAGA hat on.
Yeah.
I've never done any of that. I find it embarrassing.
Or the one anime profile pic who's not trans.
Right, exactly.
That's me.
That's the horseshoe theory.
Thank you. Yes. So if any of what we said you understood, this is the podcast.
You're in the right place. You're speaking our language.
Yeah. Hey, welcome. So we watched a movie for this episode.
Yes,
right?
we watched Juno.
Juno, 2007. Juno.
Interesting. The last good year for movies.
For movies. Directed by Jason Reitman.
Did he do anything else I should know about?
He did Youth in Revolt.
He did Youth in Revolt?
Yeah.
Yo, that's the movie. I have mentioned it before.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it again. I saw that in theaters. Mm-hmm. That is the movie where Michael Cera plays himself and an evil mustache clone of himself.
That sounds good.
I have to watch. I can't believe it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Now, but I don't know how to feel about that after watching this film. So.
He did the new Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Lady Ghostbusters?
Not,
or the... Oh.
Yeah, not Lady
the
Ghostbusters.
Other one. Okay.
Ghostbustresses, I think that one's called. Because when it's a girl, you switch it around.
Well, Ghostbust.
Yes, thank you. He did that. He's also the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed Ghostbusters.
Oh,
which is kind of cool.
Interesting. So he got his son to do
and Stripes and the Meatballs. Other like Harold Ramis.
Meatballs?
No, you know Meatballs.
What are you talking about?
We don't need to talk about Meatballs.
Okay, whatever.
But let's not.
Yeah, he make it a meatball. That's what you're telling me.
He did. Ivan Reitman did
make it to meatballs.
So I don't want to get into Jason Reitman too much because last episode was the anti-Semite episode.
Today's the anti-Italian episode.
The anti-Italian. Plus, I think we're getting into some big-time misogyny in this episode.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense to me. After watching this movie, that makes perfect sense. We could go that direction.
But, hey, look, if you agree with us, hey, cool. We're all just having fun here. If you don't agree with us, this is a satire episode. So just keep that one in mind.
That's a cop-out I use often on my streams, which is everything I say is a joke, half of it I mean for real. What that means practically is that you can't fucking quote me on anything without thinking you might be a fool and it was a joke. So therefore, I always have plausible deniability.
How stupid would you be if you try and get us taken off of YouTube for anything we say on this podcast? It's like, yeah, that was a joke.
You would look like such a fool.
You didn't get the joke. Ha ha. You would look like an idiot. So, Juno.
That's the thing. Which part is the joke? Do we hate Jews? Is that the joke? Or we don't? And that's the joke. You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
What are your pre-impressions of Juno? So Juno, this was, we're Zoomers here, so we're still kids when Juno came out. But I think I was aware of Juno.
Yeah.
I saw a poster where people are talking about Juno. They're referencing Juno. Juno was big.
I remember everybody in college. It wasn't that long ago. I was only in it for a year, but everybody came together and watched Juno in college.
Did they?
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I was like antisocial, so I was like, yeah, you fuckers go do that. I'm gonna go do nothing instead.
I'm gonna go play RimWorld.
I'm gonna go. Yes, actually, yeah, dude. Yeah, I did go play RimWorld with my Chinese roommate coming in halfway through and then grabbing a cigarette and going back out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what were the kind of things that you thought about that you were kind of thinking going into Juno?
Going into it, I was thinking, like, first of all, I was like, man, there's gonna be. I guess first I thought it was gonna be good. I was like, yeah, I bet this is good. Michael Cera movie, circa 2007. I bet this is gonna be the kind of movie that if I had watched at the time, I would have thought was good and been embarrassed that I thought it was good later.
Yeah.
Like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, for instance. And also, I thought, like, I'm optimistic. The front cover, it seems like the kind of movie that would encourage abortion, but the front cover has her clearly pregnant.
I'm going to move the microphone a little closer to you.
Sure, fine. But it's like, so, like, I was optimistic. Maybe it's like an anti-abortion movie. Yeah. Maybe accidentally.
I was thinking that, and this is why we put it on the list of movies that we wanted to do. I was thinking this is going to be hardcore propaganda. Mm-hmm. That's for sure what I was assuming it would be.
I agree with you. I think that's, when I'm saying I thought it was going to be similar to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah.
I think that's also included. Is that it's going to be some propaganda in there. And some effective propaganda.
Oh, for sure. And because it was such a
super
big
popular.
Movie, yeah.
It's weird that Michael Cera is like a star.
It is.
He was in so many big movies.
This is the first actor who's appeared in 2 of our... Yeah, and it sounds like he'll be in a third when we do Youth in Revolt.
No, I don't know if that one's worth covering. I just want to watch it again.
So what were your first impressions actually like? You start the movie, you're halfway through. What's the taste in your mouth?
Okay, well at that point I'm like, this movie's all right. I don't know if I like 100% agree with all of it. I've got some reservations. I'm really interested to see how it resolves, but like, I'm having a fun enough time.
Let me tell you, this is one of the most interesting movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
It is. There's so much to like grab and pull apart, and I don't know how much of it was intended. That's an interesting thing. The intention of the movie versus what I actually got out of it.
Okay.
But there's so much that, well, I don't want. Well, okay, I'll get into my whole spiel in a second. But there's so much about like masculinity that the movie seems to kind of touch on that maybe because I was a kid I didn't really get it, but it seems like the whole masculinity conversation wasn't really a thing in 2007. So because the movie's, it's kind of, you could look at it, and I look at it as like an indictment of weak men.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure you're going to tell me stuff in this podcast that I'll say like, damn, that's a way you could look at the movie. But there's so much in there, like in a bunch of different ways, and I don't know. This is pre-Trump. This is before men have reawakened. Yeah, so sure. It's interesting to kind of see.
To be clear, I in no way would credit Trump with reawakening of men in any way.
No, I would agree as well. It was all the internet, but it's the whole. Yeah. Well, okay.
But Trump does define a certain era.
It does. Eras is something I want to talk a lot about.
Okay.
First, before we forget, a little bit of housekeeping.
Okay.
We were offered, this is months ago, we were offered $100 if we can go a whole episode without saying like.
Have I said it yet?
I don't know. Well, it's starting now.
Okay.
I'm saying it starts now.
Okay, I will try my damnedest.
I'm not saying we're going to succeed. I'm saying this is attempt number 1.
I keep forgetting.
I know, but that's why I wrote it in my notes. We're not going to say like as a filler word.
We still might say this is similar to that. This is like that. But we will
not like this.
I enjoy this thing.
Yes.
But we will not say, yeah, I don't know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
That was an example. If you fucking take my $50 for that, I will be so mad at you.
And then we got to say, because we keep forgetting, the basic kind of parent's guide for this movie.
Absolutely. This movie literally opens up with a sex scene.
It does. Yeah, there's no like nudity. There's not any there's not like harsh language or anything. Maybe a little bit, but nothing egregious. The main
PG-13 level shit.
I think it is PG-13.
It probably is.
So that's not bad. Where I would say don't like the themes in this movie. It's weird. You don't watch it because the themes are really mature.
Right. I wouldn't recommend this to show your kids because it is covering topics like abortion.
Yeah.
Or like sex and pregnancy and abortion are like major plot points of the movie. And so it's not just like a little thing where it's like, oh yeah, I can explain that to little Timmy in some little not dishonest way, but like simplified way, and then it'll go past. It's like he'll be asking about the whole fucking movie. If you were to watch,
it's too much. Not for kids based on subject matter.
And I don't think any kid would have a lot of fun with the movie.
No, I don't think so. It's not really a concern.
No, I don't think they'd be like, Mom, I want to watch Juno.
So back to what I was saying about eras, right? Mm-hmm. This is
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Also, the main character is a sarcastic prick a lot of times, and you do not want your kid turning into that.
That is very true.
Just thought it was worth saying.
Same kind of concern that we had with Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm. You let your kid watch this, they will adopt very sarcastic, ironic humor.
Michael Cera cannot catch a fucking break on this
Michael Cera is the epitome of late 2000s sarcasm.
Yeah. No, he is. Eras.
Okay.
2007. Mm-hmm. This is an extremely important year.
Everybody says so.
It's a oddly important year. Mm-hmm. 2007. It's not even like an election year. Mm-hmm. I just fucking said it. It's not even like an election. That I didn't need to say like.
Yeah,
I just fucking said it.
I just said it. No. Oh, that's so bad. I was going to say that it's not even an exact it's on the edge. I was going to say it's on the edge because you were to some degree saying that it's not even similar to an election, but that's not what I would.
That's not what I meant.
No.
Well, better luck next time.
I'm gonna watch myself. This is training now, and I'm still going to look for it as we continue.
Okay, little mini game in this podcast. So,
I'm so upset with both of us.
I felt stupid.
I did it in response to you doing it.
That's so bad. Okay, better luck next time.
All right.
2007. It's not even an election year.
Right.
This is the last year of Bush. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking so carefully.
Enunciating every word.
So, I don't know how much boomers or anyone else has recognized this, but I think pretty much everyone our age who thinks. Not many think. But everyone who's our age...
Who thinks and is on the internet.
Yeah. Is very aware of this fact.
Yes.
You have to think of what people our age...
Restate the fact real quick, because we got on a lot.
2007, monstrously important year.
Right.
Way more important than you'd imagine.
Right.
Let's see. What are some things 2007? We got PS3.
Yeah, I hope you made a list, because otherwise I can pull up some stuff.
Yeah, pull me up a list. Well, I have a lot of them off the top of my head. So, big cultural changes. A lot of them are late 2006, but they would be adopted then in 2007. Like, shit, I said it again. Oh, no, like as in for instance. Okay, that's good. That's an okay one to use. For instance, we have Facebook. Is now open to the public, not just schools. That's late 2006. We also have the iPhone comes out in 2007. We have... Well, actually, that was an election year, kind of. Obama announces that he's running for president, which Obama, very, very significant cultural president for sure. His administration is like an amazingly large turning point in the culture. We also have, for people my age, we have the new generation of video games. We have the Xbox came out in like 2005. But late 2006, we have both the Wii and the PS3. both extremely relevant, especially people our age, but the Wii is extremely relevant for people of all ages that have sold so well. My grandpa was playing Wii boxing.
I will say with gaming, that's like where this idea of 2007 being like the last good year is something that like really caught on with video games, because you've got Stalker, you've got Super Mario Galaxy, you've got the first Witcher game, Portal, Mass Effect, BioShock.
For people who don't know this, these are not just good games. These are
Halo 3.
Yes, these are games that are so big that they change the industry.
Oh, for sure.
Team
Fortress 2, Modern Warfare.
I was about to tell you, Modern Warfare changed first-person shooters in, like, now they're completely different. It's like almost a new genre of first-person shooter versus what came before, the really fast-paced kind of thing. Now we have the more slower-paced, cover-based type first-person shooter. Very, very... These, if you're a boomer listening, these might not seem big. They're enormous.
Yeah. I mean, there's just...
All I really have to say is Facebook and iPhone. And also, at the end of 2007, the crash, the Great Recession starts.
Right. Some people also say that 2007 was the last year before people became super reliant on technology.
Yeah.
Not that everyone wasn't obviously reliant on technology in a lot of ways, but like you said, iPhone 2007. So smartphones are like a cool new toy, basically. Not we are having studies about how this is going to ruin our children's lives because they are all growing up not knowing how to like talk to another human being. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have that yet. We don't have that concern yet. We're just like, yo, I'm playing Angry Birds on my... I don't know when Angry Birds came out, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, look at this cool shit.
An interesting thing, too, that I was listening to... Sorry, spoiler alert. I really like this movie. I was listening to the soundtrack of it while I was working on something in the garage.
Interesting. Wow.
And
jeez.
And one of the songs in it, you know, the full version, includes the lines "fuck George Bush" and "fuck this war," and it's like, wow, your concerns are so trivial from what they are now. It's so cute.
I know. It's like, you know, that's why I really feel for 9/11 truthers. So I feel like they're the equivalent of me in that era.
Oh,
you know?
For sure. It's me now.
Sure. I do believe 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's now a commonplace thing to believe.
Yeah, especially on the internet.
Oh, I mean,
everyone on the internet.
It's just a joke. I mean, it's interesting because that's also probably around this time period. Like, it's somewhat early YouTube. Mm-hmm. And early YouTube, they used to actually
By the
show
way,
you.
Thank you. Yes, YouTube in this time.
YouTube was way better.
Yeah.
And YouTube used to actually show you, and I think in 2007 it still did, would show you what was actually the most watched things. They'd have a rank instead of just like, oh, we handpicked what's trending. Yeah. Right? It used to be what's actually most popular. And for a long time, what was most popular on YouTube was 9/11 truther documentaries.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it was like it was also kind of a golden age of like, oh shit, I can go on the internet and find like forbidden knowledge. Mm-hmm. Whereas nowadays it's like, oh shit, I can follow this weird guy on Twitter and find forbidden knowledge. And that's just not as cool.
It's not as cool. So this seems like a tangent. This is not a tangent. This movie came out this year and it was hugely influential. This was part of a cultural turning point. You had the 90s, which started in 1995. Everyone knows that. And it goes until I don't know. People just say that. I don't know why. But I do know that it goes until 9/11.
Yes. The 90s, I don't know about the start date. That confuses me, what you said. I have to think about that one. But I will... it sounds like nonsense. I don't know. Yeah. But I will say it is 100% true that the 90s did not end until 9/11.
Yeah, that is absolutely
Culturally.
Fact. Culturally, we're talking about cultural eras. And then
these are, by the way, I was like, what? Like a fucking infant at the time. I just want to point out we are talking out of our ass on one hand, but on the other hand, we know exactly what we're talking about.
I know exactly what I mean, and I can prove it to you because I've idealized very specific time periods, and that's one of them. And then we also have 2001 to 2007. That is the early 2000s.
Yes, I understand immediately that is a distinct time period. Yes. I know what you mean.
Next time period, we have 2007 until like mid 2015, 2016.
That's called Gamergate.
That's called Gamer. That's called the golden age.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That's called I'm on 8chan.
Say what you will about the Obama administration. What a fun ass time.
Oh,
it was
man.
the best. That was the best time ever.
Dude, I'm on 4chan or 8chan, depending on what part of this period we're in, right? And I'm watching WebMs of some guy in a slave outfit being whipped by another guy, and I think like a Obama mask.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm just loving it.
It's awesome.
This is a golden age.
It is.
I'm watching Sam Hyde, and he's still funny and not giving me like life advice, which is really good life advice. Instead, he's like yelling at his mom.
It's fun. It's a fun time.
Great.
Look, we all understand what Obama's whole deal. You go and you go, I wonder what that guy's up to now. Wow, it's just as bad as I thought. But it's bad in kind of like a really funny way. Do you remember in like 2014 or 15 when there was that hostage crisis or something?
Like barely, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many of these things.
What was I in, like middle school, high school, you know? Like,
who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
And there was all these hostages in like Iran or whatever. I don't fucking know. And we sent a pallet of money to them. And then the media was asking, the press was asking, like, hey, did you just send a ransom? And they said, no, we don't send ransoms to terrorists. But their release was contingent on the money. And it's like, I love this. This rocks. This is so much fun. Yeah. And now, look, we're the underdogs again. That's fine. That's fun.
That's fun.
But now it's like, damn, I might have all of my income gone.
Yeah,
damn,
it's a lot more serious. You know, Obama era was like, I'm in high school talking to my history teacher about like, yeah, Obama does suck. And I don't know why I'm talking like this, but like, because I'm getting back in the age. Yeah. But it was so fun, so low. Maybe just because I was in high school, but like it was so low risk. Like, yeah,
it was low risk. That you try and think objectively because everyone kind of idealizes that time in their life, but the politics of it was so low risk and really so low impact on your life. And now in 2022, everything. I just dated the podcast. Sorry, everybody listening to this 30 years in the future.
Right.
Looking back on this beautiful
artifact.
This little artifact that we made. Now it's 2022, and it's like politics. I kind of have to care about a little bit because I might like lose a job or something. I moved across the country because of this. It's fucking insane.
I think I have a good example.
Tell me.
Obama period is like, oh no, my taxes are going to be higher.
Yeah.
Right? Current period is like, oh no, I'm going to lose all of my income and I'm going to have to go off the grid and like start a new civilization because they're going to inject me with like dead fetus juice just to be hyperbolic.
Yeah.
You know? You know is another one I should avoid, but I won't think about that.
We're in a considerably higher risk time.
It just is. It just like objectively is a higher risk. You cannot look at vaccine mandates and say that's not higher risk than anything Obama did.
True. Extremely
Would like
true.
to point out that the vaccine was first developed under Trump just before you give him like a free pass and shit.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
Watch out for that.
There are a lot of people who were like super anti-vax, like 100, and I'm right there with you. But like they're like super, and then they're like, yeah, but Trump was cool, and it's like, well, but he was like,
we have become
Operation Warp Speed.
We have gone off topic.
We've gone way off topic.
Just to finish the era thing, the era we're in now started 2016 with that with the campaign, and we're still in that one. That's the same one.
Okay.
Because it was just
interesting.
Because the Trump administration was still dystopian in its own way. That's when the machinery really started rolling.
You know, I would agree insofar as like the election of Trump was the end of another kind of golden age.
Exactly. It was
like a joyous occasion, and then like his actual presidency was like the beginning of the end.
It was, and It was the time where in the Obama administration, I could listen to comedy podcasts where I didn't politically agree with the people, and we were all just having a fun time.
Yeah.
And then Trump starts running. It's not fun anymore. I realized that they kind of would love to have me in camps and kill me.
I agree 100%.
That's when I stopped listening to like Comedy Bang Bang, Mark Maron. There are
a lot of podcasts where if you go back and listen to them now, you hit the election of Trump and him like announcing his candidacy and everything, and they become unlistenable. Like just all of a sudden, boom! I can't listen to this anymore because it is like even if
you said it twice, by the way.
Even if I didn't have any opinion politically, and like I'm not a big, I said it again, I'm not like a huge Trump supporter. I voted for him, of course. Yeah. But I don't think he delivered on a lot. But that's neither here nor there. But like, fuck.
It's derailing the show.
I know.
Thanks a lot. You ruined the show.
Shit. What was I gonna say?
He's not that good. He's not that good. Trump is fine.
Oh, no. Fine. Even if I didn't have an opinion one way or the other, it just ruined all these podcasts and like shows and stuff to where it just completely derails. I feel like even a lot of leftists were like, this is terrible. Stop talking about Trump all the time.
Yeah.
So.
2000. Anyway, the 2007
such
thing.
A tangent.
Such a tangent. Well, it's important though to illustrate how important this movie is. Mm-hmm. It's very, very significant. If you haven't seen it and you're a historian, go watch it just for that reason alone.
Interesting.
And now I can explain what I thought of the movie.
Okay. Let me say just on that note, it is a good time capsule. I don't know if I like the movie as much as you do, for sure.
It's still for sure.
But it's a good time capsule.
I like that time capsule.
What's up, dude?
My wife was texting me, so I muted my phone.
Nice.
Juno.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
That's crazy, but
I really love the movie. I expected it to be garbage, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I go, yeah, hold on, yeah, wait, that's genius, yeah, and I liked everything about it.
Interesting.
I really, really liked it, and I think you hated it.
Just to give you my tentative, I'll give you a summary. Like, I liked it enough until the ending, at which point it colored the entire movie before that, and I'm like, I hate this movie.
I could see that.
Okay.
I could see it, and I think there's a couple different ways to look at this movie. I loved it, and I think it's a morally good movie.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive that you could have acrobated your way into that opinion.
I think it will send you to heaven.
Wow. Okay.
And I guess I will explain it.
You have to.
As I said before, there's a bigger point. But a really interesting point with this movie is the indictment of weak men. Every problem Juno has would have been solved at every step of the way. First of all, a strong man wouldn't have had sex with her, not only outside of marriage, but also at her age. There's a lot of reasons the sex should have happened in the first place. A strong man wouldn't have done that.
Oh, you're saying Michael Cera,
Cera,
character, would have been like, no, I'm not having sex with you.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Away with you, wench.
Yeah, fucking be gone. Thought.
So there's that. And there's also, once she is pregnant, even if Michael Cera was weak at that point, now a strong man saying like, all right, we're going to figure this out. That's great.
I'm putting a ring on your finger. Let's do this.
Exactly. That's what a strong man would do. Later, Jason Bateman, Mark. I know you don't know actors' names.
I know Jason Bateman, at least.
Jason Bateman, once again, Juno's problem would have been solved if he would have just been a cool, strong guy. Stayed with his wife, not been a bitch. Now,
absolutely,
the baby's going to another good house. A good home to grow up. Mm. So every step of the way, what I'm seeing, and maybe this is the lens I kind of look through things, but I go, damn, I wish there were a really good, strong man in her life. Her dad's kind of a strong man, and he kind of negs her all the time. Which, but maybe that's the. I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into that. He's a strong man, and he says, "I'm going to help you every step of the way. I'm going to do what I can," and helps her solve her problem.
So, but is also ex-divorced. Just want to point out.
Yeah, but she left him. It's complicated.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I've watched the movie twice.
So I watched it once.
I didn't finish the second time. I got close to the end the second time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this thinking, I just want to be a strong man. I want to help Juno. And I also thought, this movie reminded me a lot of Rosemary's Baby.
Interesting.
Which is another good thing.
Another pregnancy, abortion kind of movie.
And Rosemary's Baby is a good movie, and it's a horror movie, and it made me realize that the scariest thing is being a woman, is being a pregnant woman. It's extremely scary because, first of all, you're weak. You have this huge obligation just inside your body. Everyone can see it, and you know that this is now a commitment for the rest of your life, and you have it with you, and you're not going to be able to support that alone. There's so much that's extremely scary about that. And it's not scary if you're married to a strong guy, but it is if you're not, like in Rosemary's Baby. So the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm watching it with my wife, and we're just like, I feel so sorry for Juno. This must be so scary. And I think people might argue that, and you might argue, I don't know, that Juno would kind of glamorize teen pregnancy or something. I don't think it does in the slightest. I think it's portrayed as like so scary, so stressful. She's crying for good portions of it, and I don't like that. Also, she did of course consider an abortion
immediately.
Not
even consider. She's like, well, I guess I'm getting an abortion.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to point that out.
I feel so sorry for her.
Well, okay.
This is probably the biggest takeaway I had of this is the abortion thing. And also, here's the misogyny portion of the show. But also, if you're a good woman, you'll agree with me 100%. So shut up, bitch. That's basically what I just said there. In a bad culture like we're in a horribly immoral culture. This is a garbage time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 2007 wasn't that different in terms of that.
No, not at all.
In a bad culture, without a good man in their life, a woman cannot be trusted to make a good decision. Without a doubt. Because women prioritize security over everything else. This is what they do because they're physically weaker. And
it's the argument against women having the vote.
I don't think they should vote.
I don't think either. No, absolutely. Women should not vote. If I'm being completely honest, no one should vote. But if we're going to have a vote, it should be only men.
Thanks for whispering far away
It
from the
should
mic.
be only men who should vote. I'm sorry. Let me say it louder. I don't think women should be allowed to vote.
I've listened back to some of these podcasts. It's
women should vote.
What the fuck did he say? And I know everyone else is doing that too.
No women should vote. Put it on record.
So...
Unless you agree with me. No, I'm kidding.
They just, you can't trust them to make a good decision. Now they do make good decisions. There are women who do that, but I would not say it's the norm, and I would not say it's in their nature, so to speak.
I will say a certain psychologist pointed this out. I believe it was Wilhelm Reich. It was debatable whether or not psychologist is the best word to describe him. He was like an evil kind of person, but he still saw something that he then used to his advantage because he's evil. But what he saw was true, which is that he said, I believe it's him. If it's not, I sound like a fool, but one of these kind of guys at least.
People are listening to this while they're driving.
They're
going to forget this, and they're going to say, yeah, Michael's just a smart guy.
Okay, sure.
They're not going to look this up.
Yeah, okay. If it's a different guy, I apologize. I'll fucking asterisk this in 5 episodes when someone points it out. But anyway... He pointed out that he was trying to get women to be like sexually promiscuous for like psychological studies or some shit. Evil guy. And he said when that woman is surrounded by like a culture that is good. So like if he took like some, like Polish Catholic in like a little Polish section of town, then like it was impossible. There was nothing that he could do to get her to be sexually promiscuous. But if he surrounded the woman with like tons of other women or even just a bunch of people who were like, yeah, you should do that. Yeah, it's great. Like surround her with a culture where it's okay. He said it was the easiest thing in the world.
That makes sense.
I'm not saying it's always that black and white, but I think there is a very real element of like women are much more socialized.
They're much more socialized. And if you're even looking at that still through the security angle, disagreeing with everybody in like a society can be dangerous. Women are not going to do that. Which is why it's some do. I'm not going to say there are saints out there that are really great.
We're
women.
talking general broad strokes.
Broad strokes.
Broad strokes.
Hey, so,
and just real quick, that's the argument. You know, people say it's the reason why women shouldn't vote is because it's the same sort of line of thinking. They don't have the same risk that a man has. A man has to take risks and be confrontational. Because if his enemy kills him, genetically he does not win. His son will get killed by that guy. Whereas if the woman just like goes along with like, oh, someone's invading my tribe, I'll just go. Then she will pass on her genetics.
Yeah,
because she'll be raped or like remarried into the new conquerors or whatever. It's not like I'm not saying that like.
Now that is fucked up.
That is a basic...
But like, evolutionarily, it makes sense.
Evolutionarily, that's how people act. That doesn't mean that like a woman who's a good person can't do better.
Exactly.
But...
now, an instance where I see that women cannot be trusted to make good decisions, oddly, is... so, the Sue Chin. You know Sue Chin? She's outside the abortion clinic protesting.
Oh, in the movie, yes.
In the movie. Bless her, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But she says that the baby has fingernails. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to point out, that's not a good argument.
But
against, I thought I muted that fucking thing.
It's funny, if you're trying to, again, it sounds super misogynistic. You know, we did an anti-Semitic episode, now let's do a misogynistic episode. Like, that is an amazing argument to tell a woman who's about to have an abortion.
It is. And as she said it, I went like, see, this... They're pointing out that there are bad arguments for anti-abortion. That makes sense. And then I wrote that note, and then I see that it worked on her, and I go, I understand the female mind. And
because I'm trying to convince someone abortion's wrong. No joke, I am drawing a diagram. And I'm like, see, well, and then that, and then
here are all of the possibilities that could be morally.
Exactly.
We start with the principle, murder is wrong, and then we go, that does not work on the ladies.
I've used that one on a woman before, and she's like, yeah, but, and then nothing else came out of her mouth.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So
I should have said the baby has fingernails, and she would have been like, oh my god, is that fingernails?
You know what? It's fine.
Hey, what that does is it humanizes the fetus, and that's obvious. I'm not saying that's wrong of them to that, even though it's not a good argument logically, right? It's not irrelevant.
No, it's certainly not.
It's very reasonable for that to have an emotional response, and you should have that exact emotional response. Mm-hmm. So,
anyway, I don't know why the fuck I'm talking about women.
I don't know what you're saying.
Because there should be a strong man in her life to say, don't get a fucking abortion. But there isn't. There is which, I don't know. You can take that either way. You could take that as saying men suck, or you could take it as saying, hey, men, step it up. Or both, I guess.
Or you could say it as, you could also say it as the movie has nothing to say about that. It's just being accurate to real life.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
You could also say it's an accident.
My big takeaway with the movie, and why I think it's going to send you to heaven, is I think properly watched in earnest with the beautiful mind and eyes that I have. What you're gonna take away.
Let me borrow those.
What you're gonna take away, and what I took away, is the importance of compassion, and I guess maybe not like forgiveness is kind of a weird word to use in this sense, but she made a mistake. She did something bad, and she had a kid. She got pregnant with someone. None of that should have happened. Mm-hmm. But she needs help, and it's still the right thing to help her. And every step of the way, it's hard for her. It's really, really hard, and she's trying to deal with this mistake that she made. And yeah, I don't know. She doesn't make a lot of the right decisions throughout, but she gets some help from some people, and I don't know. I kind of think. I kind of think this sounds cliche, which I hate that this sounds cliche, but what would Christ say to Juno? Like, realistically, what do you think?
Go and sin no more.
Yeah, go and sin no more. But he doesn't get on her about what already happened. Go and sin no more. I like that.
Yeah. If you look at the other example would be like chasing the moneylenders out of the temple. So if you took those two together, it would be like if they are currently engaging in a sin, you stop that sin immediately. But she's not. So then it would be the situation of like go and sin no more.
And where this compassion I think becomes so important is look, I'm a rad trad, all right? Everybody knows that about me. I walk down the street, they say there's rad trad Dalton with his fucking scapular and his skateboard. Look at this guy.
Rad.
But this guy's rad. But I think that a lot of people on the internet or wherever in the sort of rad trad sphere aren't so compassionate all the time. They're real dicks. And there's the one scene where Juno is pregnant at the school and she's getting a note, I think to go to get an ultrasound, if I remember right, from someone in the office, and there's that old bitch.
Fuck that woman.
Giving her a look down. People like that, look, you're right. She shouldn't have got pregnant. That's true. But people like that are a big reason why abortions happen.
No, I mean, that is literally like she is like the modern Pharisee. And she is in some way.
Thank you. I like that. That's a really good way to put it.
And in a lot of ways, she's worse than Juno. Like
she's way worse than Juno.
Yeah.
And there's even the line early on when Juno comes back to her friend. I forgot her friend's name.
Not remember.
And she says that I can't get an abortion. And her friend says like, well, what are people going to say? I mean, everyone's going to see you and everything. And it's like we shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have these people all judgmental because someone made a mistake. What's important now is what happens next.
Oh yeah,
and I think about like a 16-year-old girl who is in this situation and is pregnant. That's something that goes through her mind. People are going to know, and people are going to judge me, and that shouldn't happen
because they're more socialized.
Thank you. And it really breaks my heart because I don't know if it's because I'm married now or have a kid now, but I don't think that would have affected me before. But now it's like, wow, that hit me, and yeah, that's why I think it's going to send you to heaven because there's a lot of that in this movie, and yeah, I don't want people to judge pregnant teenagers so much because they made a mistake. We should help them. There's I don't know if they have it where we live now, but there's a different way to do health insurance called a health share, which I think now you can't join anymore because it's since been illegal, but it was grandfathered in. Anyway, there's a Catholic health share that Sarah and I were in, but and I wasn't on it, but Sarah was, and they wouldn't provide her stuff for her pregnancy and birth, not her birth.
I know what you mean.
But having the kid because she didn't have a spouse on the plan, which is it's a Catholic service.
You were married, obviously.
I was married,
but you weren't on the plan.
But I wasn't on the plan, so they assumed we weren't married, and that is so fucked. Like those people have the audacity to call themselves Christian,
right?
That I don't know. That pisses me off, and there is that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll say one practically. You also there's a lot of elements to this. It's a big problem in a lot of ways, but the opposite is also a problem.
Correct. Thank you.
There's obviously like an Aristotelian mean or whatever the fuck it's called. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But
Aristotelian.
I don't think so. But like. I'm sorry.
It's the filler word, sorry.
Part of it is if you're talking to Juno, you should be compassionate. If you're better way to put this. If you're talking to a pregnant 16-year-old, that is the woman at the well that you defend and then say go and sin no more. Mm-hmm. If you're talking to an abortion doctor, that is who you chase out of the temple.
Yes.
There is a time for both.
There's a quote that I have heard, and I spent a fucking hour looking for, and I couldn't find it, and I'm still pissed about it. Cool. If someone put it in the comments. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's the gist of it is the church is strict in principle and forgiving in practice. What Juno did, having the premarital sex, was wrong. There's no two ways about it. It's wrong, and it's in fact a moral sin. It's actually a very, very serious issue. It's incredibly wrong. It's done. Now she needs all the forgiveness and compassion that you can muster. I mean, it is just like go and sin no more.
Yeah, I mean, she needs to go to confession, which first involves she needs to convert.
Yeah,
and you're like, it almost is somewhat of a man versus woman thing, because if I'm talking to a woman, maybe I'm wrong, but I in no way expect to be successful by telling some pregnant woman you're committing a mortal sin and you're killing a baby. Mm-hmm. I in no way expect that to convince her to become Catholic.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm talking to a man and I tell him you are a murderer and you are killing babies, I could actually see that being very successful.
I think so too, absolutely.
So it somewhat is a male versus female thing. And to be clear, it is not a double standard insofar as what the woman did is wrong. Mm-hmm. What the man did is wrong. They may be like, I don't know which is worse, having the abortion or being the abortionist. Abortionist does it more often, so probably him. Mm-hmm. But either way, both mortal sins, that's not in question. If they die in a state of mortal sin, they'll both go to hell. But if we're talking about just I'm just talking practically. You need different approaches for each of us.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's some woman out there that someone's going to say, oh, if you told me I was having an abortion, that I was a murderer, I would convert.
Yeah, some robot bitch. Have a heart.
But it's like, okay, fine. There's probably someone out there that feels that way, but I'm just talking, stereotypes because I'm a retard.
So an issue that I did have with the movie was the ending.
Yes, so, I think that's fair.
So the baby still goes to Jennifer Garner.
No, just quick overview. I just want Juno gets pregnant. She wants to have an abortion. She doesn't have an abortion. She keeps the kid. She then gives it up for adoption to a family. Then that couple breaks up, and she gives it to the now single mom anyway.
Yeah.
Quick overview.
I would say that is not ideal.
I would say that is the understatement of the very important year of 2007.
Well, for one, I like that this movie's anti-divorce. Interestingly, that's portrayed as such a horrible thing.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I think it is too. So that's a nice little check mark for that movie.
Except maybe her parents' divorce, which is not really touched on, I don't think.
Her dad does mention it. He says, like, look, I know I don't have the best track record about this.
I did actually like that.
I like that. So, and the mother did leave, and she does hate the mother for leaving. So, I would say it's anti-divorce.
Okay.
But it's realistic because, look, divorce happens. We're all fucking working it through. They're obviously not Catholic, so whatever. I think it was pretty realistic, honestly.
I just have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but on that note,
are you, Michael?
I have to say what you said about divorce. That is still a situation of, if you are divorced, you are currently sinning. So that is not a situation of like, oh, just move on. You need to fix just to be clear.
Okay.
Because the way you phrased it.
Thank you. Let's be compassionate, though, Michael.
I'm just making sure we're being clear. Divorce, that is an active sin. You need to get back together with the person. You are still married. Divorce doesn't exist.
Okay. So, it wasn't a good idea to give the baby to Jennifer Garner at the end.
Absolutely.
I don't think she knew that. From Juno's perspective and from 2000's perspective, this is a woman who...
I disagree.
That's fine.
No,
let me tell you. This is a woman who is all about kids. She's all about having a kid. Jennifer Garner, yes. When we first see her with Jason Bateman, we go, oh, wow, she's kind of a bitch. And then we see, like, oh, no, she has to wear the pants, unfortunately. Well, that's another little thing there. I love seeing Jason Bateman and Jennifer Garner's marriage because you first say, wow, what a bitch. She wears the pants. And then you see, no, it's actually because he's a weak bitch. Mm-hmm. He's a loser, which, by the way, is probably most marriages, realistically.
It's very accurate.
Women don't like wearing the pants.
Exactly. But they will if no one else will.
Yeah. And that's the situation.
And they'll hate it.
She doesn't seem to like wearing the pants at all, as you see later in the movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wouldn't give the baby to Jennifer Garner. But I think in the universe of the movie it might make sense. How propagandistic is it? In 2007, I don't know. Maybe. I don't feel strongly either way. But what I had a bigger... That I kind of had to think about more. But what I had a bigger problem with immediately was the voiceover at the end when Juno says... Yeah, we didn't do it too normal, but normal was never really our style, was it? And I thought, like, well, that does seem to kind of glamorize things a little bit. But that's all I have to say about that. It does seem to kind of glamorize things a little bit, but you know, this is the quirky girl movie, whatever. However, I actually ended up really loving. Aside from that line, what I loved about the end was something my wife told me like an hour ago. Which is, and she was, you know, this movie made us emotional. I don't know why. Probably because we have a kid. And what she said was so great about the end there was that Juno was now back with her boyfriend. It's all happy. And what's really great about that is what it tells women, young pregnant women, is I don't have to abort this baby. I can still be happy and lead a normal life, which is great, which is really beautiful. I think that's really, really important. I don't know what Jason Reitman's politics are, but, well, actually I do, but let's not talk about, we already did the anti-Semitism episode. Well, his mother was Christian. I'll say that.
Oh, and it's usually by the mother's line that you track.
Yes. Well, she converted.
To Judaism?
But can you?
Oh. Well,
let's not talk about the Jews
anyway.
this one. Anyway, I thought that was a great message. And that does, we see before, I mean, when you're a young girl, your whole life is going to change. Everything you thought was going to happen isn't going to happen. And everyone's going to look at you crazy. Just get an abortion. It is easier. I will tell you, it is easier, and it's also cheaper than having a baby. These are horrible facts. I do not like that. But I like that the end says, this isn't it for you. Adoption is better, for sure, than abortion.
I can see that. Yeah. Oh, it's better. No, I'm not arguing that. Adoption is obviously better than.
Yeah,
that is
completely.
The difference. I mean, like, even if you took the most crazy, lowest opinion of adoption, and you're like, it's abandonment of your child. Mm-hmm. Abandonment's a lot better than murder.
Yeah, and
even if you take that low of an opinion.
And in her situation, sure, she gave it to single mother, whatever. But it wasn't even like giving it up to the state, you know? She gave it to people that she knew were going to presumably take care of the baby, at least from her perspective, take care of the baby really,
I'd say
really
at first,
well.
At least.
At first, exactly. So I think that's great. That's all well and good stuff, but still my main point is it will teach you, an asshole, to be, not you. Well, maybe you. You're probably an asshole sometimes. I'm an asshole sometimes. Fuck off, Michael.
Okay.
It will teach you to see things from a woman's perspective and be more compassionate, which is something a little bit lacking in the trad sphere. Which, if you're listening, if you found this podcast, you're probably in. You shall know them by their fruits. The fruits of this movie. I want to help women in need, and I'm also more grateful for my wonderful family life.
Okay.
Send you to heaven. That's what I say. Do you want to read some emails? Emails. Let's talk about emails.
All right.
Well, first of all, while I pull that up, why don't you... Well, actually, let's talk about our producers.
I don't have that written down.
Oh,
either, but I can say that we got some producers.
Give us the pitch. Tell the nice people listening how the show works.
Okay, here's how it works. So we say a lot of anti-Semitic, misogynist things. Not on purpose. It just comes out, you know.
It's in our nature.
We're comedians. We say funny things, right? We push the boundaries a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not in a gay way, you know what I'm saying? But so
we gotta do a gay episode soon.
I don't know what that means. We're going to review the local drag show? Like, what are you talking about? But, never mind. I was going to say Chris Chan. Listening to the Chris Chan thing, it's insane.
Yeah,
but anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so we say a lot of like very questionable things. I think all reasonable. I think you're all reasonable people. We're reasonable people. But very questionable things that we could not advertise this show with basically anyone in existence. Maybe Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that might be all right.
Maybe, but not much. Mm-hmm. So we just decide we're not doing any because that's just going to be a conflict of interest. I can't say like I fucking hate chicken. Mm-hmm. Or, for example.
Yes.
For example.
Seed oils are the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, I bet Chick-fil-A cooks their shit in seed oil.
Peanut oil.
Peanut oil?
Yeah.
That's fucking garbage. I hate them. They're slowly poisoning our youth.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck Chick-fil-A.
Fuck Chick-fil-A.
If you like Chick-fil-A, fuck you.
If you like Chick-fil-A, make your own. What are you doing? You don't have a wife to make your food for you?
What a bitch.
What a bitch. You are. But anyway, the point is, we're going off topic. Now we're just like fucking goofing. Yeah. But the point is we don't take advertisers because that would be a conflict of interest and we wouldn't be able to be objective about what we talk about. And the point of this, we are not, you watch the news and all the advertisers are big pharma. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when you're watching the news, you should keep in mind that who they're trying to please is not you. It's Big Pharma.
Who pays the checks? Big Pharma, not you.
They pay the checks.
Big Pharma pays the checks.
So they don't care if you watch the news and think, that was a really good program. They don't give a fuck. What they care about is when the executive tunes in and like, that was a really good review of our... They really made us look really good when they talked about our new trial on our new drug and talked about how many people are successfully losing weight using Zerastratol or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's what they care about. We care about what the people think.
Yes. You pay the checks, so we care about you.
Well, it goes both ways. Not only do we care about you, how you just put it, which is very funny and money grubby, which is like, we care because you pay the checks. Yeah. I'm putting it the other way around. We have you pay the checks so that we continue to care about you. Because your mind will follow your money.
Okay, that's an esoteric way to put it.
Basically.
However, I agree.
Okay, basically, because of all of that nonsense, we take donations. Donations is one way to put it. Another way to put it is that we ask you to give us what you think it's worth. It's an open-priced show.
You are producers. You're not donators. You're not listeners. You are producers. Because you produce the show, we could not do this show without your help.
Yes. If we had received zero money thus far, we probably would have said, well, we need a better idea.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So
this show wouldn't have been happening if we didn't get such great producers so far. And by the way, you are producers in a lot of sense. You do drive the direction of the show. If there is something you want to do and you're a producer, I might listen to you. If you send me an email complaining about the show, if you send me an email, hey, watch this thing, how much you invested in the show if you're not invested in the show.
Exactly. One guy is like messaging us right now saying like, hey, I want you to watch the Hot Wheels movies.
Yeah.
And we're like, what's your price?
No,
seriously, because it's like if you're invested enough in the show,
hold on,
you'll
stop. I have a little thing I'm going to say about that in a second.
Okay.
So I'm going to table that for a second. Let's thank our producers, and these are real producer credits. Put it on your resume. We will vouch for you. Put it on your LinkedIn and put it on IMDb. Make this show paid on IMDb.
I would just say the main thing. I didn't really finish there, not with the Hot Wheel thing, but with like, give us what you think this is worth. If you think it's worth the price of a movie, then pay us $5 or whatever.
Yes.
If you think it's worth your livelihood, give us $1,000 every month. Whatever maybe you're rich. Just whatever you get from this, that's what we're asking. I think that's only fair. I can't ask for more than you think it's worth. I shouldn't ask for less.
Our executive producer today is BoomerVet with $50.
A returner,
BoomerVet. Thank you very much.
This is not the $50 each that we would have gotten if we could have gone through this without saying like, because we failed spectacularly. This is just a separate donation from a generous man.
Yeah, and he wrote us a very nice note.
I assume, man, I don't think women were allowed to serve in the military back in boomer times. So
he's got a very nice note we're going to read in just a minute. Our associate executive producers are with $43.68 is Halindir. Thank you very much.
Longtime supporter of my streams. Great guy, despite being literally a neo-pagan.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
We have Harmoat, who's the guy who we saw on the last 2 episodes. We saw him.
Oh, he was. Oh, yeah, the guy we noticed.
Yes, his money has gone through. We now have $10. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we also have Stephen K with $3. Thank you very much. The PayPal fee is 50 cents. Just want to point that out. Thank you very much for your. It's now $2.50. But
can't you mess with that? I might get with you later, and you can lower that. I believe.
Cool. We'll see. We'll see what we can do about that. Either way, he gets credited for the $3.
Yes, so absolutely. Thank you.
And like I said, these are real producer credits. You can use them, and we cannot do the show without you. So the thing I was going to say about producers, I've been contacted by several people about wanting to produce specific episodes. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they want their name executive producer of an episode about this topic.
Interesting.
Yes. I'm extremely open to this. So far, it's
like it.
We pick it, and whoever donates the most, you're the executive. The next 3 are associate executive. And after that, you're just a producer.
That's how we do it now.
That's how we do it now. But if you're interested in doing that, send me an email. willitsendmetohell@gmail.com. You can talk to me on Twitter, anywhere. You can talk to me on Twitter, DM me, cheddar_breeze.
If you also happen to be in the Yeoman Vidya Discord, you can just add him there.
Yeah, there's a million ways. Just talk to me. I will work that out. We'll get it discussed, and that we can make that happen. It's not an issue.
I like that. That's even more of a traditional producer sort of thing.
It is.
Where a guy with some money approaches a director and says, "Hey, I want this movie to be made."
Yeah, I like
the same sort of thing.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
And that's even in a more meta sense, they are driving the direction of the mechanics of the show.
It also just makes me feel good.
It makes me feel good.
Because it's some guy who says, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
I want you to do it with this thing. I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, wow, I'm bringing some value to this fucking guy.
I think that's really great. So, contact me for that. We also, you can donate on Patreon, patreon.com/willitsendmetohell. Also, PayPal, paypal.me/willitsendmetohell.
If you're a boomer and you don't understand, Patreon, you give a little amount monthly. Or a big amount if you want. PayPal is a one-time send. So depending on what you're looking for, that's where you go. You guys, you'll be credited either way. The first episode of a month, we thank all the Patreons, plus whatever PayPal we got. But you'll get your credits. It'll be great. You'll love it. Emails. Okay, emails. Let's talk about emails. We got a few emails. The first one is from Stephen K, who, of course, our producer here. He said he must have sent this right before the Rudolph one came out. He said, "I love the podcast, and I'm excited for the Rudolph episode. Here's hoping it's as good as the previous episodes." Well, you tell me. Yeah. And you got it in a little late there, pal, but I'm glad you got it in. Next, we have the one... I think it was good. I think it was a good episode. Yeah. We have the one from BoomerVet, which is quite a long, nice email. Let's get into it. Greetings, gentlemen. BoomerVet here. Let's get right to it. I actually read this one. I just want to tell you. And I think it was good. I'm interested.
Without your literary background, which I'm guessing less than 1% of the population share, I feel... Oh, thanks, man. I've read... That's why I like this one. I've read 0 books.
That's why I like this one, is because he's like giving... He must be talking about me then.
You must be.
I'm a bit of a reader myself.
Without your literary background, which I'm guessing less than 1% of the population share, I feel Cowboy Bebop remains nothing more than adolescent fantasy. Like most anime, all women are depicted as having huge boobs, tiny waists, and dress in very provocative clothing. What are you complaining about? While the guys sport perfect hair, large biceps, hell yeah, and a six-pack.
Let me just real quick... Spike Spiegel, the main guy, is like otter mode skinny guy. So I don't know if I'd say like huge bicep. He's kind of like...
He does have a six-pack, though.
He does have a six-pack. But that's like otter mode. He's a skinny... I know what he's saying, at least.
All of the messages and insights you both discussed in Cowboy Bebop, which I appreciate, come from your extensive literary background and not the series itself, leaving the question, why is this series so popular? I believe I found the answer when I recently learned that this past year's #1 search term for pornography was anime. By the way, Pornhub just released their stats they do every year. Very interesting. Um,
in a very macabre sort of way.
yes, thank you. It's my opinion this show's popularity is driven by the overly sexualized characters, along with Spike's contempt for work. This guy is a boomer. And
you know what? Real quick interruption. The sexual thing is just it shows that actually shows more that he's a boomer. Insofar as if you've watched any other anime, this is like the least sexual show I've ever seen.
It really is. I think maybe 2 episodes. It kind of did some fan service for Faye Valentine, but
a little bit
after that,
so
not really much.
That I think is just funny, but maybe that doesn't excuse it necessarily.
No, that's
I'll
true.
say that.
That's true.
It
is the biggest reason why I might not let my kids watch it.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the biggest reason for sure.
Yeah, and I will say, but him being anti-work, yeah, that's probably true.
You know what? Work
is kind of anti-work.
You know what? Work sucks.
Work
ass.
does suck, but you know what? He does get up and do his job. So
that is true. He does.
That's a freelancer.
So the over-sexualized characters, along with Spike's contempt for work, and that's what this generation finds most appealing. The show came out in 1998, but
that is true. Worth pointing out. I was like barely born, ish. Yeah. I don't want to like get too specific, but
what the hell do I know? I'm just an old curmudgeon. The take you both had on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was fascinating, but I want you to know that you two have now ruined for me a cartoon that was a Christmas staple in my home growing up.
Here's the thing. Mission accomplished. And what I mean is, he is not saying, I disagree with you completely. What's wrong with you? He's saying you ruined it, which implies we convinced him.
Yes, that is true.
And that means I did a good job.
On a more serious note, I question the statement made that if you allow your children to believe in Santa, that once they discover he's not real, they will question if everything you've ever told them is a lie. In my 6 decades on this planet, I have never once heard a child or adult make this statement. You weren't raised Catholic. Given the nature of my previous profession, therapist, I'm pretty sure this would have come up if it was in any way damaging people. Additionally, I sincerely hope that if you raise your children to not believe in Santa, that you make it clear to them that they are not to kill Santa for everyone else. Okay, that's fair. Why all the Santa hate? Did you not get the pony or G.I. Joe with the kung fu grip you wanted? Or in Michael's case, as Dalton would say, Barbie's dream house?
I like how before making a little snide, like a little joke, little rub, he first I don't think this is just the kind of fucking asshole thing Dalton would say.
This is way out of line. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. BoomerVet.
I will say about the Santa Claus thing, just because it didn't come up in therapy, I think that's an interesting point, and maybe I should, it's something to consider. But I will also say most people are just not that honest. Maybe they are more honest in therapy. That's an interesting point. But I'll say, I guess, 2 things. One is that that's the practical question, is that you shouldn't tell your kids that Santa Claus is real because practically it's going to lead to them mistrusting it.
Yeah.
The thing is, he makes a good point where he says in his experience, it's anecdotal, but it's a lot of experience.
Yeah. Dude's a therapist.
In his experience, he didn't see that ever come up.
Uh-huh.
And I'd say to that, one is that might just be one element of larger problems. And if you're going to a therapist and you're like, maybe you're mad at your parents about lying. Santa Claus is probably not the biggest issue you have. You come up with something else comes up long before you get to Santa Claus. And so that would also imply that it's not that big of a deal. So I can give him that to some extent, at least hypothetically.
I will say parents who do tell their kids about Santa, it's not the end of the world. Now, it is in the fact that it is a lie.
That's where I was going to go.
But it's not going to ruin a childhood. I mean, it might, but I'm not going to die. Well, maybe I will die on that hill. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not going to condemn any parents, really.
Let me put it this way. What I was getting at is, even if it's possible that practically it does not have that effect, obviously with some people it doesn't, but I think with some people it does. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't, it is still a lie. So you can set aside the practical part, but then you still have to be faced with the reality of the moral part, which is it's a lie, and lying is wrong. Now, if you want to have a big debate about whether there are certain situations you should lie, then fine. But then we'll still get to the point where it says, where I say to you, what's your fucking big justification for lying about Santa Claus, right? Like, you can't pretend that, I'm for the greater good, I'm lying to my kid. So I still think, even if you set aside the practical part, morally, it doesn't make sense to tell your kid that. And then also, just at the end there, he said, not having your kids ruin it for other kids. There's not a chance in hell I'm going to tell my kids, so Santa Claus doesn't exist, but I want you to, like, lie to all the other kids you meet.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole point of this is that I'm not lying myself, so why would I encourage my kids to then go and lie? Like, maybe I'd mention, I don't know, that's tough, because I guess I could tell them, like, hey, this is true, but if you tell it to somebody else, it'll be like a big fucking deal. But, like, what do I want to encourage my kid to be non-confrontational when around harsh truths? No, literally the opposite is what I want to encourage.
You know, I'm not going to say a damn word about it. If you want, if my
He'll
kid,
ask eventually.
If my kid wants to tell other kids that Santa isn't real, what do I care? Kids do that anyway. They do it all the time.
That's true.
If it's not my kid, it's some other kid.
That's true.
It's like, it's not a big deal. It's really not something to complain about. When I grew up, kids are like, when I was a little kid, my dad says Santa's not real, and I go like, what an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's whatever. We also got a nice email from a man. I don't know. He seems to be anonymous from insert European country here with love. It's a very nice email. I'm not going to read it because it's just kind of suggesting things we might want to do, and that's true. I want to do a lot of the stuff on your email. So I see you, and your email is very nice. Thank you. We got one from. I starred that email on accident.
I will say, so I'm just skimming the email. I think I read this before, maybe. But I will say to this guy, he's recommending all these things that we could watch and I think they're good ideas. If you want to see one of them, send me some fucking money, okay?
Yeah.
There's a million things we could do. So I'm just going to be realistic. The things you mention, with maybe the exception of Breaking Bad, are things that we probably just wouldn't do because there's so many other things to do. Unless, of course, you gave us a bunch of money and, like, that's just practical.
I mean, this guy was asking me about doing a Hot Wheels movie.
Right.
And it's like, well,
we would never do that unless you sent us money. Because there's just no chance.
And I would do that.
But if you sent us money, I would do it. I'd be like, okay, whatever.
I was looking at LETTERBOXD reviews, and it sounds like a fun time. This is a nice email we just got from Anon Who You Know. Interesting. I didn't read this whole email yet because we just got it recently. Hi, and God bless your hearts. Thank you. I've recently converted from atheism to Catholic Christianity. Hey, a little round of applause for this guy.
God bless.
During when I was sick with the virus, since I prayed in the toughest hour and things just seemed to work out for me and I got a quite bit better the next day. Happens. I don't know where to start as a Christian. I've never entered the church on my own, yet alone talked to a priest. As a giant introvert and a loner, I find it hard to push myself, especially with all the lockdowns. Yeah, a lot of parishes are really crazy about that. Hopefully you could give me a hint on how to throw away the fears on my back. I think we probably can. Also, my mother keeps pushing for me to go do a part-time job at the local ironworks factory. Dude, hell yeah.
Sounds cool.
My father is a foreman there, and she keeps telling me I would have it easy, but I just really don't want to be forced into it, especially if she speaks about like she has no faith and trust in me to decide and do well for myself. It really ruined my mood when she keeps talking and what seemed like bluffing about how she won't feed me if I don't make money when I am still in high school. Oh, you're in high school, dude? You're going to work at the steel mill? And don't need it yet. I told her I would go after I finished high school, I guess, but she kept going on about it. I just feel like she cares more about the money. Let me tell you. So I have a mother. You might not know that about me. Mm-hmm. And
some people do.
She's all about money. I work 4 days a week for FedEx, and she's always like, you could work more and you could have more money. And it's like, I don't want to. And she just won't let it go. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That might be because she's a single mom and money was always kind of tight for her being a single mom. I don't know.
She didn't know how to apply for welfare.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm on welfare. It's not that hard. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. But I feel for you. It's really, really annoying. People who like, I guess care about you, who are just all about the money, and it's like
they prioritize money over many things that
over
are more
anything else.
Than money.
You know what's more important to me?
Everything.
Yeah, it's like
money is for suckers.
It really is. I make enough to have. I own a house, and it's like the cheapest place to own a house in the country.
Oh,
but
for sure.
But I own a house.
But it's beautiful.
It's beautiful here, and I get to spend time with my wife and kid, and I get to do stuff like this podcast and edit stuff for Michael. And you know what? My enjoyment of life is way more important than money. You know,
yeah,
I would
absolutely.
work. You know, if this starts making more money, if Michael starts making more money streaming, I'm going down to 3 days a week working, and then I'm going down to 2, and then I'm going down to 1. As long I make enough money now, I don't need to make more. I will just work less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Obviously, to be clear, there's some level of like planning for the future and shit.
Totally.
But
that's what crypto's for.
There's a reasonable amount of that, and then there's like I'm working 6 days a week for the rest of my life, and that's not reasonable. Even 5 days a week for the rest of your life, I think is not reasonable.
I can't believe people work 5 days a week.
I don't. I work 4 10s. You know?
It sucks.
Yeah. So did you have something to say off of that, or just you wanted to? Because I have some things to say.
Well, I guess so it sounds like you've converted in your heart, but you're not like baptized or anything because you had to go to a priest or whatever. That's cool. That's people find themselves in that place. So I guess here's one way to look. This is a man, I imagine.
I think so.
You're gonna have to. This is the tough love part. If you're a girl, I'm telling you different stuff. But as a man, I'm saying, what do you prioritize? Do you prioritize you're too nervous to go talk to a priest, or do you prioritize your immortal soul? It just comes down to that. You just have to suck it up and go do it. You just have to go do it. I would try and see if you can find a parish that has, maybe not FSSP or Institute of Christ the King.
If you can find Latin, I would.
If you can find FSSP or Institute of Christ the King,
go there.
Go do that.
No doubt.
Exactly. If not, try to
avoid. I don't want to start like a whole fucking firestorm, but try to avoid the ones that are literally heretical or are like, ooh, I don't know, maybe. You know,
don't do SSPX.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't do SSPX. But so try and find FSSP, Institute of Christ the King, or a local diocesan parish that does a Latin Mass.
They do exist.
They do exist.
We live near one.
I go to one.
Yep.
It's just the parish priest. He's really good, and he says, "I want to do Latin Mass," and he just does it.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a bishop who's not amenable to that. It's hard to find one. Then leave it up to God's hands. Just pick one. You know, the important thing is that you do it. Because are you going to say, I'm too nervous. This is weird. I don't know what to say. I'm going to look like an idiot. Which I relate with because I'm also a Zoomer and I have crippling anxiety for doing very basic things. But you just have to do it. I'm sorry. You just have to go do it. What's your advice? What do you think?
Okay, well, a couple of things. So with the Christianity part, I'd say you should go talk to a priest, but also I think it's very important. This is one of those situations where I remember some Catholic guy made a joke like years ago where he was talking to converts and he said like, come on in, the water is terrible. And it's true. Like, so I think you should, we've mentioned books to read in the past, but I think you want to capitalize on this early conversion energy. The zeal. So you should, just a couple. I don't want to overwhelm you. You'll find more. It's very easy to find. You just fucking Google traditional Catholic books, or you go to just like Tan Books and look at the bestsellers. Honest, TAN, Tan Books. There's a couple others, but I know Tan Books is pretty good from what I remember.
Ignatius Press or something like
Ignatius Press. Read E. Michael Jones or something. That's a little intense, but but like you should buy a good copy of the Bible, like Douay Rheims. Douay Rheims Challoner is a very good translation. It's old school, like King James-y talk. You can also, I hear that. I don't know. Do you have a more recent one?
I like the NAB.
Okay, that's New American.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what my priest uses when he's not using like the Vulgate. You know what I mean? So I trust it.
We're getting into the weeds here.
Okay. Anyway, I would say you should do some reading and really get some facts down. Like the best thing I can recommend. Get a catechism. I will recommend personally get the Baltimore Catechism. Read that. It will answer a lot of questions you have.
It's like a Catholic FAQ.
It is exactly that. It is a Catholic FAQ. It'll answer a lot of questions you have, and it'll tell you, like, it'll give you things to then when you have to talk to a priest, and there's the unfortunate possibility that he might be very wrong about some things, you can look back at the facts and be like, oh, he's wrong. Instead of like, oh, I guess this is what Catholics believe. Mm-hmm. I think that's, unfortunately, that is a very important step. And you should also, I would recommend Orthodoxy. And
G.K. Chesterton.
For you in particular, and I'll get into this a little more, I would recommend, this isn't even a Catholic book, I would recommend you read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Say it louder into the microphone.
I think you should read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Thank you.
Not a Catholic book, but it'll put you in a better mindset. And the reason I say that is because the way you're talking, this is not, I don't want you to take this as a big insult. But I have been listening.
But you're a huge pussy.
But I have been listening to a lot of this podcast that is called Christian, A Comprehensive History, right?
Yes.
Very interesting. Your second paragraph reminds me of Christian talk. And I am not, it's slight, okay? I'm not saying you're a Christian here in the making. I'm just saying he would also, I think it's common in our, but it's just what made me thought.
We have a rough generation.
We have a rough generation. And when you're talking about, like, especially when she speaks like she has no faith and trust in me, that'll make sense. But then you said it really ruined my mood when she kept talking like that, how she won't feed me when I make money. And the line, and when you said, I just don't really want to be forced into it. Mm-hmm. You are letting emotions somewhat decide what should be a practical decision. Mm. You need to practically think to yourself, should I get this foreman job? And I don't even mean practically like, do I need money? Like, yeah, that's a factor. But also, practically, is this something I will enjoy doing? You should not be thinking, I'm going to be bitter about getting this job because my mother's making me do it. You see what I'm saying? You need to sort of like get a little bit of self-responsibility and make your own decisions. Yeah, and to some extent, you need to make the decision, and I think you can easily argue both ways. You can say that fuck your mom for forcing you into this shit. You should go do your own thing, and good for you. You could also say, hey, maybe your mom actually has like money problems and you should like step up to the plate and get a job for your family. You know, if they're not like absolute pieces of shit, that's a really good thing to do.
Maybe your mom has money problems and thus has no credibility in terms of telling you what you should do for work.
That's fair too. I'm saying there's a lot of elements to this, but
don't be a Christian.
Your motivation needs to be, I am improving myself.
Yes.
I am setting myself up for a good life, not I want to do the opposite of what my mom's telling me to do. And that's hard because when someone's trying to force you to do it, especially if you have like some bad history with your mom or something, it can be very easy to just do the opposite of what they're doing, but just realize that is still them controlling you. If you always do the opposite of what they tell you to do, they are just as in control of your life as if you did everything they told you to do.
That's interesting.
So it needs to be not even a factor. Oh, my mom wants me to do that? I didn't even know that.
Now, I don't know this guy's life, whatever he's got going on, but it seems to me that working in a steel mill or whatever he said would be cool. And also his dad works there, so he'll probably actually learn some skills because someone's going to give him like individual attention and tell him how to do stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe his dad's a prick. I don't know. Maybe you sound like you should probably get a job doing something. You probably should get a job doing something.
I mean, he's in high school. I would also, maybe you have some other like avenue you want. Like, I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
of an
maybe
example.
this guy emailing us is a football star, Michael.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, maybe he wants to like program.
Yeah.
And instead of getting some job, he should like master a skill.
You need, as a man who waited too long to try and learn how to do anything, you need to learn how to do something very soon.
You should learn a skill.
Because I've learned how to do one thing, and that's how to edit videos, audio, and images. That's it. Those are my only skills.
That's a good skill.
I guess those
more
are
than
fine
a lot
skills,
of people.
But and I learned those in high school.
Well,
those are skills that you should have. It would be cool if I knew how to do some stuff in a steel mill or wherever. That would be cool, and that would probably make more money than my kind of thing.
For now, yeah, absolutely.
So
maybe in the long term too.
Do something. This seems like a good way in, but if you have a better idea, do that.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Is you need to do something. You need to take some control, and you need to make practical might not even be the right word. You need to make a reasonable decision. And part of it's a moral decision. If your parents have like raised you well and everything, and you really do owe them, and they are hurting for money, and that is why your mom is trying to get you to get a job, then maybe you need to make the reasonable moral decision to get a job to help out your parents. But maybe that's not the right decision. I don't know. I don't know every detail of your life. I don't
have enough information.
I have 2 paragraphs to go off of. But I'm just saying, based on those 2 paragraphs, I feel like you're being too reactive to your mother.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true.
You need that's why I recommended Marcus Aurelius.
So send in your emails. willitsendmetohell@gmail.com.
Yeah, I hope that helps the guy.
You can clearly send in anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
About anything. What's the next thing we're going to watch, by the way, Michael?
Oh, shit. What was it?
I remember.
Well,
you never listen, Michael.
Oh, Spirited Away.
Thank you.
That's right.
It's like it's in one ear, out the other. But I'm glad you.
Yeah.
Spirited Away, Miyazaki is the next thing we're going to watch.
Yeah, we thought it'd be an interesting twist because it's anime again. It's an anime movie. But it's basically a kid's movie.
Yeah, and it's fucking weird.
And it's really popular.
Everyone's seen it. People are telling me, people are saying, I listen to the podcast more if you do something I'd fucking seen. And it's like,
this is on the edge, I will say.
People who listen to this, I think a lot of them have seen Spirited Away.
That's true.
A lot of people our age have seen Spirited Away.
And I think it's also one of those movies where, because it's a kid's movie and because a lot of like Zoomers have seen it, a lot of Zoomers who are in the future are going to be parents and have kids, are going to think to themselves, I wonder if I can show my kid Spirited Away.
Yeah.
I feel like it's being a very practical episode. Instead of, just to be fair, Juno, if it's very interesting to talk about Juno, how it affects you. But if you're talking about how it affects your kids, it's like, well, I'm not going to show my kid Juno. But like Spirited Away, it's like, yeah, I wonder how that would, it's practical in that way.
Look, if you're saying, fuck, I haven't seen that either, send me an email, buddy. Let's work something out. Let's do something you have seen.
Yeah. If you are invested in the show, then invest in the show.
Yeah, thank you. Then invest in the show. I haven't seen this. When are they going to do Thomas the Tank Engine? $150, I'll do it. I don't give a shit, man. I'll do it.
$150, I'm staying up all week marathoning Thomas the Tank Engine. Unless that shit's like 500 episodes long, which it might be.
Look, we'll work something out.
We'll work something out.
I will do what you have seen. Just help me. Help me help you. That's what I'm asking. Send your emails about anything. willitsendmetohell@gmail.com. I particularly want to hear what you think about Spirited Away. But
absolutely.
But anything. I have a tangential thought. I put a note for myself. This is a good spot to say a tangential thought.
Okay.
I don't know where else to say this, but it should be said. Buddy of mine, Alex. Buddy of yours, Alex.
Good guy, great guy.
Great guy. Love this guy. He sent me an album to listen to. Did you get that too?
I haven't listened to it yet, but he did send it to me.
It's called The Wizard Clip by Dear Other.
Okay.
And it made me think. We care about the church, right? I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
We also think we should return to tradition in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Do you know also politically, right? We're conservative guys.
I'm basically a monarchist.
Do you know who makes all the art? Fucking liberals. They're doing all the music.
Absolutely true.
They're doing all the movies. They're doing all the shows. They're doing the books.
Because it's where the money is.
Because hold on. So they've established credibility in terms of aesthetics. For sure, I think. At least they're making it.
Yeah.
We're not fucking making it.
Oh, yeah. Since, like, the 20s, back when they had, like, the Catholics sort of, like, boycotting movies, since then, it's been completely out of our field.
I think it's incredibly important that we need to start making art. And all the conservative people are doing, they're doing talk stuff. They're doing nonfiction.
What we're doing.
Like this. They're doing what we're doing. And this is cool. I think that's fine to do. But there needs to be more art. Now,
I agree.
Michael and I do have plans, and it's already halfway written, to make a visual novel.
Visual novel is in production. I just need more fucking time.
We need more time, which you can help with paypal.me/willitsendmetohell.
That's absolutely true.
So I'm not a hypocrite on this part. But I think that...
Fuck!
What? You okay?
I missed my submission to the fuck. There was a shit.
You forgot something?
0 HP Lovecraft.
You
Zero
missed...
XP. I missed him and some other guys. Also, Mencius Moldbug were holding a fucking writing competition.
Oh, that would have been a great opportunity.
And I was gonna submit my poetry.
We need to make more things.
Yeah.
And when I listen to the Wizard clip is the album. It's very cool. You should listen to it by Dear Other. And it's like a traditional Catholic guy making a folk album.
Oh.
And it's really cool. It's not the best album I've ever heard, but it's quite a good album still. Okay. And I go, damn, I'm so glad this guy made this. It's great. I can't think of any like Catholic musical artists that do that kind of thing. Hillbilly Thomists are great.
Yeah, I know a couple.
Bourbon, Bluegrass, and the Bible. That song kicks ass.
I'm more of a Poor Wayfaring Stranger guy.
That song also kicks ass. Yeah. And that's not an original song. The reason I said this one, that's an original song they made.
Well, then I think, original song, I'll say the Dog, what is it?
I'm Just a Dog for the Lord. That's a good.
Great song. I think that's original.
We need to be making more art. We need to be in the art sphere. It's not the only reason I go lift weights, but one of the reasons is when people see me, I want people to say, that's the guy I listen to. He knows what's fucking going on.
It's just, it's primal.
It's primal. Aesthetics are important.
Absolutely.
And conservatives are usually really practical, realistic people, and they often don't consider the value of art. It's incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway...
I'm a bit of an artist myself.
Thank you.
So I understand.
So please, hey, maybe this guy, the last guy, we got an email, maybe this guy has a little bit of a musical talent. Maybe he can produce some music. Just an idea.
Yeah, I agree. More art does need to be made that is not like analytical or review or what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Now, this one, I'm going to give myself a little pass because no one else is doing this. And I think this needs to be done.
I'd give us a pass on 3 fronts. 1...
Tell me, justify what I'm doing right now.
1, we're different. 2, we're better.
Yes.
3, we're also doing art.
Yeah, that is true.
So those are my my justifications.
Boroughshire just recently stopped. Maybe we'll get all those guys. All the guys who listen to Boroughshire, these 2 very measured millennials talking about how much they like Pope Benedict, and then me saying, this is gay. This movie sucks.
Yeah. I thought you were saying...
the Jews' fault. Maybe we'll get those guys to listen to this.
Maybe. But I was going to say, maybe this is a good opportunity. We can try and find people who are doing this and give them little shout outs when we can. Make that a segment of the show.
I would love that. That's a great idea.
So for this, like you said, Dear Other, and what is it called? The album?
The Wizard clip.
The Wizard clip. So check it out. I haven't listened to it yet, but I plan on listening to it. Sounds like it'll be good. I'll also say this isn't someone who's alive, unfortunately. He died recently. But if we're talking like semi-modern Catholic art, go read Gene Wolfe, dude. Obviously. You could also say Cormac McCarthy, but people... He's Catholic, but like how much does it influence his work? How Catholic is he? But Gene Wolfe, that's a Catholic man.
Mark Wahlberg recently converted.
I think I heard that. Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what? He's making a movie with Mel Gibson now.
Yo, so he's real converted.
Yeah, he's real converted. All right. Also, Shia LaBeouf. He's
Passion of the Christ, another example of semi-modern, work of Catholic art.
By the way, I don't know if anyone saw that clip a few months ago about Shia LaBeouf hanging out with some monks. Please, everybody, pray for Shia LaBeouf. I actually do. What a get. What a get. I think everyone our age is always kind of rooting for Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, okay.
We should do holes. Anyway, what do you think about Juno?
Okay, so I just want to say...
Oh, sorry. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
One more thing. We have a Letterboxd.
Oh, yeah, Dalton made a letterbox. I think it's a good idea. I have my own personal letterbox, but I haven't done it in forever,
We are Send Me to Hell Pod. All one word on Letterboxd. You can also find the link on Twitter. That's at Send Me to Hell 2.
If you're unaware, Letterboxd is like a movie tracking and review site, and also somewhat of a social media platform in a way. And that's basically what it's for. I used to use it to keep track of movies I've seen and like what I thought of them, and like have a nice list of these movies so I can go back and like, oh yeah, I should recommend that to somebody or whatever.
So you can follow that on Letterboxd.
So now we have an account. Yeah,
it's natural that the show has one. I have one. I'm at Dalton_Cheddar. You can follow me.
I think I'm at Yeoman, but I'd have to look again. It's been a little while.
Yeah. So if you want more of this. More of Michael whispering 2 feet away from the mic, you can find it in spirit.
In spirit, yeah. You can find the text that will be in like size 3 font to simulate the whispering.
We can make that happen.
I don't think we can make that happen.
What did you think of Juno?
So I felt very differently than you did. I thought this was so like I said, while I was watching it, I was like, this is a fine enough movie. The ending was so fucking bad that it completely colored the entire movie, and I think this movie is quite bad morally. First of all, I just want to point out that you said that she gave the baby away to a single mom, and that's obviously very bad, but she didn't know any better. That's not true. She's a hypocritical bitch.
Okay.
Because she says earlier in the movie, she says, I don't want the kid to end up somewhere broken like everywhere else.
Oh, okay.
She literally says that, and then literally being used in that case almost as bad as like. But she says that and then does that. She's a hypocritical bitch that knows this is a bad thing to be doing, at least in theory. She knows this. So that's okay. So that was just the first point I want to make because you had made that point that she, you know. I think this is an extremely feminist movie. I think this is an like do you know how sometimes sorry. Sometimes you get the sort of progressive stack infighting.
Okay.
Where a good example would be TERFs, if you know the phrase. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. In other words, real progressive woman, J.K. Rowling is an example, who's like super hardcore feminist, but you're a male to female? Well, you're obviously not included because you're not a woman. You're just a man invading another female space, which is the progressive infighting, right? Yeah. This movie feels like a progressive infighting between like single moms and like women who have abortions. It's a really weird. It's like they're cannibalizing their own messages in some way. And so, because at first you look at this movie and it's like, okay, she gets pregnant and she immediately is just going to have an abortion. Just first of all, we're talking about like, we've talked about in the past, like, oh, there's a gay character. That's normalization, right? There is so much abortion normalization. Even though she doesn't have an abortion, there is an insane amount of abortion normalization in this movie. Worth pointing out. But she doesn't have it. And then she gives the kid up for adoption, like to a specific family. She says she doesn't want to give it to someone broken. She gives it to this couple. And then the couple breaks up, and she gives it to the single mom anyway. And that seems to be seen as like a happy ending. Even though she knows it's a broken family. Basically, my point is, this seems to be such a feminist movie that like, oh yeah, no, you're allowed to not have an abortion as long as it's a you go girl, I'm doing this because it's just my arbitrary choice that I'm allowed to make as a woman. And now I'm going to go give it to another woman as like a hell yeah, you go girl, I want you to be a single mom because I support you. For example, also like, you see what I'm saying?
You know, you could, yeah.
And every character in this movie sucks, all of them. I hate them all. The best character is her friend, who is super supportive all the time, but then that's also just this feminist you go girl shit of like, oh, you're gonna have an abortion? Hell yeah, you go queen. And, oh, you're not gonna have an abortion? Hell yeah, you go, queen. Oh, you're going to give it to a nice, caring family? That awesome. You go. And then, oh, you're going to give it to a single mom? I love it. I'm all for it. Like, every step of the way, it's just supportive with no filter at all. And I feel like that's what this movie's message seems to be. If you're a woman, you can do nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that absolutely.
This woman's a bitch and drove away her husband. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Or she's a woman and she can do nothing wrong, and she gets to win at the end and have the happy ending. And her being a single mom, like, she doesn't need to work through her problems, find a new relationship. No, she's fine just the way she is. Like, literally.
Yeah.
She does not need to find even another man to raise the kid with. No. She's fine exactly the way she is to raise this child.
You know, I can't think of any negative thing that a woman did in this movie.
No, absolutely. The worst, I can think of one. To undermine my own point a little bit, that bitch signing the permission slip or whatever. That's it. That's the only one.
Yeah.
Everything else, but that only reinforces the point. Because the only woman in this movie who is seen as having done something wrong is the woman who judges other women for doing something wrong.
Oh, damn, you're right.
See?
Yeah.
So
Michael gave a really hell yeah nod. He's like, give a big nod there.
Oh, fuck my pen. I can't.
Just leave the pen.
I know, but I can't think without it. I got one. But so, what was I gonna say after that? Shit,
you shouldn't have dropped the pen.
Dropping the pen interrupted everything. Yeah, I mean, that's basically where I'm at with this movie. It's like there's not that much else to say. Is it like it's a super feminist movie that really encourages just do whatever the fuck you want if you're a woman.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to point out there's a couple like sub messages. One of which is like, yo, be real careful about adoption because they might just like drop out at some point. Like you adopting a kid. Like, be careful. Like that's brought up a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, be careful. This woman might just decide to have the kid, and that's like a really bad thing. Like, they might decide to raise it on their own.
Well, it's unfortunate for them. I mean,
it's unfortunate, but it's really, I don't know, the way they focus on the movie really made it seem like what an asshole for having backed out and kept the kid for themselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's and also, so then the message at the end of the movie also seems to be, don't back out on adoption no matter what. Oh, the couple broke up? You do it anyway. You made a commitment. You get rid of that kid.
Yeah.
Which is just a weird, I don't think that's an intentional or very, it's just a weird sort of secondary message that comes across. But the primary is obviously you go, girl.
Yeah. I think you're probably right.
And that's why I really disliked the movie. Because everything
Because you hate women.
Because then of course. No, because then everything is colored by that. It's like everything that happened throughout the movie is just her. And then at the end, when she says the thing about, it's not normal, but normal is never an option. That's just like, I'm a contrarian bitch. Yeah.
I have a hamburger phone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She has a hamburger phone. The hamburger phone epitomizes it. Because it's like, it doesn't even work correctly. She has a hard time speaking into the hamburger phone, but you know what? I'm quirky, and I chose the less than great option. But that's my right as a quirky woman to choose a phone that barely works. That's my right as a woman to give up my kid to adoption to a single mom. Mm-hmm. That's the message I take away. I think you can go into every part of this movie, and I think how quirky this movie is plays into it a lot. Yeah. But at a certain point, you're just going over the same shit over and over. So I don't want to belabor it too much. Yeah. I'll just say this is a sickening feminist movie.
I hate how much of a sucker I am for the quirky stuff.
Yeah.
Are you too?
I
was listening to the soundtrack.
I watch A24 movies, which is a little. No, that's different. I'll say that's different. That's more like contrarian or.
Yeah. That's
pretentious.
That's more
pretentious.
I wear circle glasses kind of guy.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. I mean, I liked Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I watched Youth and Revolt when I was a kid. I watched Michael Cera movies. Apparently, is the point here.
I listened to
The soundtrack, though, you also mentioned the soundtrack. I hated the soundtrack.
I love the
soundtrack.
Mind.
It was so bad. Like the ending song and like it's all so bad.
I thought it was very sweet.
Oh, I said specifically because I watched with my fiance, and I said specifically like this soundtrack sucks.
I listen to music like that sometimes, just on my own. You ever heard of Florist? Dude, I love Florist.
I think I've heard of them. I don't know.
I like Florist. It's just a girl with a guitar singing
sad
songs.
No, dude.
You know what? It probably sucks ass. I like it.
See, I've got my guilty pleasures. I get it. My guilty pleasure is that fucking album Osaka by Free Parking, and also Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen. That's my guilty pleasure. But like even that, I can look at that and be like, that's way better than the soundtrack. No,
I listen to sad girl garbage that no one's heard of. I like that. But that's your points are interesting because that's literally the flip side of mine.
Yeah.
Like that's the exact other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Where I say, "Damn, men need to be better," and you say, "Like, man, women think they're hot shit, don't they?"
It's kind of like I think what I saw in this movie is like what's actually there. I know I'm biased, obviously.
Yeah.
But like I think this is like actually what most people would get from the movie, and what was probably the intention of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, I can't speak for the intention of the movie at all. Yeah.
And I think it's better expressed in the movie than yours. But I will say that yours is like you took it a step further and said this is what caused all that dumb feminist shit is weak men.
Yeah.
And I get that. That makes sense.
And by the way, Michael Cera in that, Bleecker, he divorced parents, by the way.
Yeah.
Dad's never around.
Yeah.
Never mentioned.
Right.
Mom mentioned several
Mom's
times.
There, yeah.
Mom's shown several times. No dad.
I will say also, that's another example. Michael Cera's character is another example of women just being able to do whatever they want, and the movie does not condemn them in any way. And that's that Juno gets pregnant with Michael Cera's kid. Mm-hmm. At no point do they like ever have a conversation about this.
Yeah, that's true.
When she first has the kid, she never goes and like, so what are we doing? We're gonna have this kid. We're gonna have the abortion. We put it up for adoption. She just decides like, oh well, I'm a strong independent woman. I'm going to decide what to do with this child myself. I'm just going to kill it and not even ask him. Oh, changed my mind. I'm going to put it up for adoption and not even ask him. Oh, changed my mind. I'm going to give it to a single mom and not even ask him.
Well, I'll tell you that was in the beginning scene when she says, "I'm just going to nip this in the bud," going to him like that with the stuff on the lawn. You remember? At the beginning of the movie, do you remember? I'm waiting for a nod from you.
Right.
That's a little bit of a shit test. What is he going to say? Is he going to be all right with this? And boom,
that's true.
Failed. Big time fail.
That's an interesting point. I didn't think about that, but you're right. That was her, like, semi-dishonest,
this is what
passive aggressive.
This is what
way.
Women do, by the way.
But it's common. It's very
It's
common.
called the shit test.
Yeah,
they do that.
I didn't think about the fact that I'm usually pretty well aware of shit tests, but I missed that. But you're
missed
right.
That one.
You're right. So I suppose she did at least that, but I'm not gonna really praise a movie for glorifying a shit test either, though. So
yeah, that's true.
You know,
I think it was.
And then after that, nothing. Just to be clear,
I think
she changed her mind later. Not do the abortion, still nothing. So
I think, although you're right, I think definitely feminist messages in this movie. I take it one step further because I'm just that kind of guy. But, you know what I mean? I'm one of those guys.
Okay.
But I don't know what the fuck I meant by that. But I think I completely lost my train of thought by blowing smoke up my own ass.
Well, I'll say that...
Oh, I know what it was. So I think despite all the feminist stuff and all, I still think it's startlingly realistic.
Yeah, I suppose.
And that was everyone's reaction and everything was sadly in a lot of ways realistic. Her parents' reaction, very realistic, I think.
For a lot of a kind of parent. Yeah.
For a lot of a kind of parent, yeah. It was cool to. I thought this movie would be like pure. I don't know if I can express enough how much propaganda I thought was going to be in this movie. I guess there was.
I think there was.
But it was still realistic.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy. Crazy.
I will say, too, what you pointed out about the shit test element does make me put a lot more license in your idea of this movie condemning weak men, at least accidentally. Mm-hmm. But I will still say that the ending of the movie, what happens to the weak man of Michael Cera? He gets the girl.
Yeah.
So he's not really condemned in any way. He still gets the happy ending. Like, the message of the story is still like, yeah, let your woman do whatever the fuck she wants, and then she'll come back to you and you can have sex again.
You know, I can't really argue against that. I think you've made some really good points. But I think I'm willing to roll the dice with that. Especially with that ending where it shows that, hey, you can still have an okay life giving your kid up for adoption without aborting the kid.
I will say this is an example.
It's a bit of a gamble, I admit, but I'll take it. That's one I'll take.
I will say, yeah, I don't see it that way. Like, definitely the way I see it is this movie is saying, because the movie, that's the thing. The movie does never condemn abortion. So it is a situation where it's like, abortion, adoption, whatever. You do what you do you. That's the message I get from this. If you're a woman, if you're a man, you know, you're only allowed to let the woman do what she wants. If you try and do anything different, well, that is the one bad male character who...
Here's a question. How much could you condemn an abortion in a big Hollywood movie? How much could you do it? Because this doesn't condemn abortion, but it makes it so it makes a good argument that you don't have to do it, that it's still okay to not do it. How much could they get away with it? Like, realistically, if you're making a movie, who's going to watch it? Who's going to fund it?
It'd be very easy. All you'd have to do is have a movie where a woman has an abortion and then regrets it. That would get through funding. That would get easily.
Good luck.
Easily.
Good luck.
Easily.
I don't think so.
It would. I bet there's a movie out there. I bet someone will find it.
Find it. I would. You know what? I would like that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
either way, I win. Either I'm right or I'm wrong, and I like that.
I see what you're saying though. Getting a real strictly anti-abortion movie.
Yeah.
But this movie just like it treats it as if it's a fact that of course you'll just have an abortion. That's the obvious first thing to do, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's not even like. I guess there's the Asian girl saying you shouldn't do it, but that's all. That's like just thrown. You know, that's not much. Yeah, and that aside, even if we say like, oh yeah, I guess Hollywood couldn't do much better. Fuck, dude, am I supposed to? Are you implying I like Hollywood?
Yeah.
You know, that just makes me think like, yeah, that's almost as if like Hollywood is all bad. Wait a minute, maybe Hollywood is all bad.
Yeah. You know, it's really amazing that it took us like 11 episodes to even mention Jews.
I know, right?
We're talking about Hollywood movies,
thing.
you know? It's just, par for the course.
Well,
anyway,
we also talked about, like anime.
Anime, yeah. Anything else you want to say about
No, I did not have like a big, great theme. I didn't like this movie this much, and I thought it was feminist trash.
I think it's crazy that we disagreed and we're not fighting.
No, because it's like I
see your points, and I think you see my points.
I think I can see both of our points synthesizing well together, except that you think the ending has a positive message. That's where I just 100% disagree with you. And the ending of a movie colors the rest of the movie so much that's why we end up having such different views of like whether it's a good movie or not. Because like I read the ending as you go girl, and you read the ending as... Well, I don't know. I guess a little more tragic, a little.
Yeah, it's more tragic, but in the more, not like meta. You step back, you look at what is a pregnant teenager going to say about the end of this movie? I should have the kid. My life's. It's not the end of the world.
Maybe.
But the whole you girl thing, I think is still there.
Actually, I can see it. Let me say this. I could see this movie being an extremely well-crafted propaganda piece to convince young girls to adopt instead of having an abortion, because then you can be a cool girl like Juno.
Juno.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was, but if you told me that's what it was, I'd be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, I see it.
Yeah. I think how you took the movie is the intention.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But that's not what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see this being a somewhat effective pro-adoption propaganda movie. And I could see that this would be like a deal with the devil sort of situation. But I could see some like well-intentioned people saying like, okay, so we got to convince these people to adopt. We have to convince these people to adopt. We don't want them to have an abortion. But like we can't like condemn them, so we'll just like show it as an option, but we'll have the main character do an adoption, and then like we'll show that it's really cool and she gives it to like a single mom, and like it's all hip, you know, and then maybe the kids won't kill their kids. I could see some weird boomer doing that, but that's also exactly the kind of boomer who got rid of Latin. And I'm not kidding even a little.
No, you're right.
So I still hate it.
Fair. Very fair. I think you're right. But I think I'm right.
I think this is also a situation I was going to say. Our BoomerVet donator talked about like our literary background coloring our views a lot more than what people would actually take out of it. And we talked about that a little before, and it's a very good point in that
it is. I don't want to overanalyze stuff too much because, well, although that's fun to do.
You want to do both, I think.
Yeah, you want to do both because what is the average person going to take away from this movie? Mm-hmm. I still think the average person might get the I want to help women in need. Maybe I'm a little bit naive about that, but I also could see the average person taking away the feminism. Interesting.
That's the thing. I think it's tough because we're talking to our audience, obviously, and our audience is more likely to go a couple steps further, and almost use the movie as a branching off point to think about more complex topics, which is a lot of what this show is. But if we're also looking objectively on like what effect is this movie going to have on the general population, that's sometimes a different story.
Yeah.
And so like I think yours, for instance, goes just a tiny bit further into a meditation on Juno, whereas mine is like a condemnation of Juno.
Which is weird. Usually we do the opposite.
Usually it's the exact opposite. Usually you're the condemnation of the movie, and I am the meditation
You've been busy, though.
I've been busy.
You've been busy. I get it, yeah.
And I didn't like this movie.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, if this is the kind of thing that you like to listen to, and you want more people to listen to stuff like this, and for me not to quit and just get a job at a local factory and hate my life and never spread the word of the Lord on the internet, if you want that to not happen, then go ahead and donate.
I got lost with the don't
me
and do
too.
and
I
don't
thing. I wasn't sure which one to say at the end.
I think you mixed it at the. I think you bunked it, but at the point is, please give us money.
Please give us money,
and also share the podcast around.
That might be the biggest thing you can do to help.
That's almost better than the money. Although obviously, I want the money.
Obviously, I do want the money.
If you could do both, could we work this out somehow?
Yeah, I know you're on Catholic Discords. I know you're on Catholic Twitter. You can share this around. You can make clips on YouTube, by the way, of this. I've enabled this. You can go on YouTube. You can make a little short clip of this and send it to somebody.
Maybe you're one of those weirdos who makes like little animations of like a part of a show.
Yeah, maybe you're one of those fucking losers who spends all the time making it.
I love you.
No, actually, that'd be awesome. I love that kind of thing.
It's good. Or even just like, I mean, like just I keep saying practically. I hate it. But you look at how. Come Town, to mention, I feel bad for the Zoomers who are like, what are you talking about?
Come Town?
The Boomers. The Boomers are going to be like, did he just mention a podcast named Come Town?
Yeah, Come Town is a very funny podcast.
It's a comedy podcast, all right? The name is a joke. But it's not like, I just have to point that out. But I'm bringing it up because Come Town is very popular. Mm-hmm. It got popular from people taking little snippets of it and spreading it around the internet.
Yeah.
So
maybe
it's just
something you could think about.
Putting it out there if it's like, man, I love this podcast, but I ain't got no money. I ain't got no friends. I ain't got no internet connection, or I don't know how you couldn't share it with other people, but maybe you just like, I don't even know how to work a computer hardly.
Yeah.
It took me a month to figure out how to download this podcast.
You're describing a boomer.
Right. Then maybe, this is an option. Maybe I lost my train of thought. What was I suggesting to do?
Look, it's late. This is the sleepy episode.
I'm so tired. What was I just suggesting that people do?
You're suggesting, I don't know. You're suggesting that they go to patreon.com.
No!
/willitsendmetohell or paypal.me/willitsendmetohell.
Clips!
You can make clips.
You can make clips. That was my point. That doesn't make any sense though. If you're a boomer who can't use the internet, you obviously can't make clips. So that wasn't a good example. But what I'm saying is, if for some reason you can't get money and you can't spread the word around because you're a socially awkward asshole who has no friends and no money, then you could make clips. That was what I was trying to say. Fuck, I need to go to bed.
Send me your emails at willitsendmetohell@gmail.com. We're talking about Spirited Away or fucking anything. Follow the show on Twitter at sendmetohell2. Follow me on Twitter at cheddar_breeze. Michael, what's your Twitter?
I think it's Yeoman Video.
Michael does not know how to market himself.
Here's the thing. Fuck the Twitter. Go on twitch.tv/YEOMANVIDYA. That is Yeoman Video. That is where I stream. Not as regularly as I would like, but you'll fucking catch it someday, I swear. You can watch a VOD. I'm also on YouTube on Yeoman Video. It's spelled the same way. It's good shit. Watch it.
You can also check out our Letterboxd, Send Me to Hell Pod.
Yes.
Or Dalton_Cheddar. I've reviewed 98 movies so far.
Oh shit! Wow.
That's what I do at the gym.
Nice.
Instead
of working out.
Exactly. I like the vibe.
I always heard the most important thing was going to the gym. Keeping up the habit. So I just go to the gym and don't do anything.
I weigh 300 pounds.
Of muscle.
Gosh, I need to go sleep.
Yeah. That's it, I believe.
That's it. See you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks
God
for listening.
bless.
God bless. Hey, prayers too. That's a nice little support.
You know what? Pray for our success.
Pray for our success.
Can you do that?
Pray for us to get more money.
That's really not an encouraged thing to do. You know what? Let me phrase it differently so that we don't feel bad. Pray for us to be able to support our families.
Yes. And better evangelize.
That sounds way better than pray for cash.
Yeah, it's 6 one, half dozen the other, but
there's a good difference.
Look,
God's an important difference.
God's pretty old. You might be able to pull one over on him.
I don't like ending with that boomer joke. I really don't like ending with that boomer joke at all.
Thanks for listening. God bless. See you next time.
Bye.